Let me tell you something that may sound insane at first, but your spirit already knows it's true. You were never ordinary. You were never safe. You were never supposed to blend in because you were chosen. And not by man, not by popularity, not by religion, not by bloodline or birthright, but by a God who whispered your name before time had a clock. While others were being formed, you were being forged. While they got blessings, you got battles. While they got platforms, you got pits. But here's the secret hell doesn't want you to know. The pit was never punishment, it was preparation. You weren't overlooked, you were hidden because chosen ones aren't put on display. They're put through fire because only those who've survived the furnace can carry the flame. See, there's a reason the enemy came for your mind early. A reason betrayal hit you harder than most. A reason you've been tired but still unbroken, crushed but never destroyed. Because there's something embedded in you that hell can't delete, a divine code that screams untouchable. You were sealed. Before you ever lifted a prayer, before you ever fasted, before you ever repented, he sealed you with something hell can't reverse, an unbreakable assignment. And that's why the top demon himself can't touch you. He doesn't just see your wounds, he sees what you carry. That's why the attacks were never random. That's why the rejection wasn't a coincidence. That's why isolation became your best friend, because God wasn't punishing you. He was protecting what hasn't even been released yet. You're not under attack because you're weak. You're under attack because you're loaded. You're not just a person, you're a prophecy in progress. So now the question is, will you believe what life has said about you, or will you step into what heaven already knows? Because when God seals a destiny, it doesn't matter how hard hell hisses. The chosen cannot be cursed, the sealed cannot be touched, and the one who walks with fire cannot be burned. Stay right here, because by the time you reach the end of this message, you'll understand why even the highest ranking demon backed off when he saw you coming. Number one, you're not just protected, you're off limits. You're not just protected, you're off limits. There's a difference. Protection means something is guarding you, but being off limits means even if the enemy gets close, he still can't touch you. There's a line drawn around your life, and it's not written in chalk, it's carved in divine authority. God didn't just say, I'll keep them safe. He said, don't touch this one. That's a command, not a suggestion. And when God speaks, the spiritual realm obeys. Even hell knows better than to cross a line God himself has set. That's why the attacks you've faced never did what they were supposed to do. You've been hit, yes, wounded, yes, but never destroyed, never taken out. That's because there's a layer over your life that goes beyond logic. It doesn't make sense why others crumbled under pressure you survived, why others lost their minds in storms that you somehow walked through. It's not that you're stronger, it's that you're sealed. See, the enemy studies people. He knows weakness, he tracks patterns, but when he gets to you, he sees something different. He sees a life with heavenly orders stamped all over it. He sees boundaries he can't cross. He sees divine warnings that say, access denied. It drives him crazy. So instead of attacking you directly, he sends distractions, confusion, delays, people who carry chaos. But it never really works. Why? Because even in your lowest moments, there's something in you he can't crack. That's what happens when you're chosen. You're not just watched over, you're marked. And being marked by God doesn't mean life gets easier. It means hell recognizes you as a threat, even when you don't feel like one. But it still can't reach you. You're not vulnerable the way others are. You walk with a seal that can't be forged, faked, or forced open. You're not just protected, you are untouchable, not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. Number two, you're not in a battle, you are the battlefield. You're not in a battle, you are the battlefield. That's why your life has felt like a war zone since the beginning. You weren't just born into conflict, you attract it, not because you're weak, but because you carry something that forces light and darkness to collide. Wherever you go, something shifts, atmospheres change, people get uncomfortable, things either break off or break loose. That's not random, that's spiritual. You don't step into battles, you become the ground where battles are fought. There's a reason you've always felt like you were being pulled in two directions, like you're in the middle of something bigger than you. That's because you are. You carry weight, and not just emotional weight. Spiritual gravity. When you walk into a place, there's an invisible line drawn. One side is trying to push you into purpose, the other is desperate to distract or destroy you. That tension you feel isn't confusion, It's evidence that both kingdoms recognize what you carry. You think you're just going through life, but life has been coming through you. Every breakdown, every battle, every unexpected attack. It all makes more sense when you realize you're not just caught in the crossfire. You are the fire. You're the territory God's trying to reclaim, and the enemy is trying to sabotage. That's why you wrestle with heaviness that others don't feel. That's why people are drawn to your light, but also try to dim it. You've been wondering why peace seems temporary, and rest always gets interrupted. It's because your very existence is disruptive to darkness. You carry clarity that breaks confusion. You carry purpose that frustrates evil. You carry presence that pushes back hell. And the wildest part, you're still standing. With all that pressure, all that warfare, all that weight, you're still here, still fighting, still walking. That's not by accident. That's because even when you didn't know it, heaven was using your life to make a statement. You don't just show up to battles. Battles happen because you showed up.